Howdy folks, it's Not Jay with Not Jay's Tabletop Gaming, and this video is the second in the series of the Victory at Sea ships being painted. This time, it's the German heavy cruiser Prinz Eugen. So climb aboard and let's get going. Alright, here we have the German cruiser, the Prinz Eugen, named after Prince Eugen of Savoy. He was a field marshal for the army of the Holy Roman Empire and the Austrian Habsburg dynasty during the 17th and 18th centuries. So that's a bit of tidbit that I didn't know until I started doing a little bit of research on this ship. She was laid down in 1936, April of that year, launched 2.5 years later in August of 1938, and it took another 2 years to be fully commissioned. On the 1st of August of 1940. She did get decommissioned in 1945, May 7th to be exact. So she made it through the war. Once she was surrendered, she was transferred to the United States Navy. So she was a U.S. Navy ship for a while, from December of 1945 until she was decommissioned in August of 1946, and was then moved to the Kwajalein Atoll, where she was part of one of the atom bomb tests where she was blown up. So her hull number was IX-300 when she was in the United States Navy. So a little bit of interesting bit of history there. Now you're seeing here I'm painting the hull gray. I got all the way to the point of getting it fully painted, the model fully painted, as the Admiral Hipper. When I realized, wait, I grabbed the Prinz Eugen instead. So what you're seeing here is me getting her prepped to be as the Admiral Hipper instead of the Prinz Eugen. Once I realized my mistake, I did go ahead and cover up the camouflage that I had painted, since the design that I decided for on the Prinz Eugen was actually during Operation Caribus, or Cerebus, depending on who you talk to. And so she was a completely dark gray hull with the wood decking. All the horizontal steel parts were the same dark gray as the rest of the hull, so that all got painted up in that fashion. And then she had kind of this sky blue turret tops that I painted on to her. So I think very distinctive looking ship, very pretty. Some other bits of interest is, of course, she was paired with the Bismarck when the hood was sunk, but it was determined at some point in time during the British hunting down the Bismarck to separate the two ships, and she made it out alive, as it were, and made it to France. Now, during her time at France, she and the battle cruisers Gneisenau and Scharnhorst were bombed pretty regularly by the British, and it was decided, after some damage was done to all three vessels to some extent or another, to move them back to Germany. This was called Operation Cerebus, and it moved the three ships from Brest on the western coast of France up to Germany, where they were able to be repaired and then used in the North Sea, in the Scandinavian waters to waylay the Allied convoys that were going into Russia. So definitely a maneuver that the British didn't take well, but they really weren't able to capitalize on taking out any three of the ships. So they were up there causing a little bit of havoc, but that's what it is. So that's why I thought that was kind of an interesting little piece of trivia. The operation to move the ships was called Cerberus, the three-headed dog. The three ships back to German waters. And I also kind of like the blue tops. I think it looks pretty cool. So other than that, it's just, I think it's one of the nicest looking ships. The Germans had beautiful ships. You cannot deny that. This particular cruiser, the Admiral Hipper class cruisers were your standard heavy cruiser. She came in at about 16,970 tons, just over 19,000's full load. Came in at 697 feet. Her beam was 71 feet 2 inches, and her draft was 24 feet. She had 132,000 horsepower in her engines, and she had 3 steam turbines that would turn 3 screws. She could do 32 knots, and her complement was 42 officers, 1,340 enlisted men, and her armament was 8 8-inch guns, 12 4-inch guns, 12 1.5-inch guns, and 8 20-millimeter cannon, and she also carried 12 21-inch torpedo tubes. Was not heavily armored, but was, enough to go up against smaller vessels such as destroyers and other cruisers with a belt armor of around 3 inches. Her armored deck was about 1.5 inches on average, and the turret faces had armor of 4 inches, so not too shabby. She did have 1 catapult for scouting aircraft, and those aircraft were the Arado AR-196. So there you have it, the German heavy cruiser Prinz Eugen. Here's a couple of photos to take a look at. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's more to come, and we'll see you on the flip side.